Hello everyone, my name is Diego Alfonso and I'm your host with the Florida Aviation Network. We are broadcasting free and in the clear from the Aerospace Discovery at the Florida Air Museum and Sun and Fun in Lakeland during the 43rd Annual Sun and Fun Fly-In and Exposition. Today, our guest is Justin Laferriere. He is the Senior Visitor Services Manager. Justin, welcome to the show.
There you go. Thanks so much for having me, sir.
I know basically how you're involved in the process of the city of Lakeland and this area of Central Florida, because
Yes,
I met your boss before, and as a matter of fact, I interviewed him about a year or so ago. We had a great time, and I learned a lot about how you people have to influence tourism,
Yes,
to
sir.
come to the region. I mean, you have to build the better mousetrap, so to speak.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And but the people out there don't know that. So what I would like, first of all, to tell us, how did you get involved in the tourism aspect of the business?
Yeah, with Visit Central Florida, we're the official tourism agency for Central Florida's Polk County. So you hit the nail right on the head. Our job is to build a better mousetrap, get visitors to come to Polk County and enjoy the things that we have, and whether that be the attractions, the restaurants, the shopping. Ultimately, our goal is to get them to stay overnight and spend more money in the county. I grew up in Polk County. I'm not originally from here. I'm originally from the Northeast, but I fell in love with Polk County from a very young age at 5 or 6 years old when I first got here. Loved what it had to offer, that it was close to everything possible with Orlando and Tampa, only 80 miles to either beach.
Right.
But still quiet enough to where you're not wanting to pull the rest of your hair out on a daily basis because of the traffic that you may experience in some of the bigger cities. So it seemed like a natural fit for me going into the tourism industry and being able to promote everything that there is to see and do in the county, and talk about what I love on a daily basis.
Right.
So out of college, I started with an internship, and I've been with them ever since. They couldn't get rid of me.
That's great. Now, what can you tell us exactly? What is it you do? In other words, how you guys plan these things? Like how are we going to get more people coming into the area? That type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know one thing, that you guys were very instrumental, and I may be going on a limb here, but I think I'm correct on this, in getting Lego to come down to this area.
Yeah, we were. I mean, it's our job. It's a basic economics lesson, so to speak. We have a hand in the supply side development as well, but in order to make that investment on the supply side, you have to be able to create the demand also. So we work both on the supply and demand side. Ultimately, driving demand is our number one goal. The more you can drive demand, the more people come and stay in the county and do what there is to do here. But like you mentioned, a few years ago, 2011 actually, we had the pleasure of recruiting Legoland Florida, parent company Merlin Entertainment. We were integral in that process, bringing them to Polk County, to the old Cypress Gardens,
Okay.
which was a big loss for us in terms of what we were able to offer to visitors. So being able to go out, recruit Merlin Entertainment and the Legoland brand has been absolutely huge for us in terms of the tourism industry and for the residents alike, because it helps develop further aspects within the county in terms of restaurants, accommodations, different shops. When you have a brand like Legoland on board, everybody else wants to come play as well, because they see what a fine job Legoland is doing, and they're growing exponentially year over year. So it's been a well worth marriage for both of us, Legoland and Central Florida's Polk County as well.
And I think I also remember that it was a pretty good fight to try to get them into here because they had other places where they were looking at.
Sure. They, if I remember correctly, they boiled it down to us in Florida, and then they had some international places as well. But the unique thing about what Merlin Entertainment does for their Legoland parks, there's only 6 in the entire world. We're actually the largest of the 6. But they center their parks around a unique feature that you can't find anywhere else. So with Cypress Gardens closing down, you can't find Cypress Gardens anywhere else. So it worked out pretty well where they were able to acquire that land, and because the gardens are protected under a National Historic Landmark, the gardens couldn't be touched. So what they did was they protected the gardens, built Legoland around the gardens, so it offers something a little bit more unique to their visitors.
Exactly. So it's double for your buck.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's it. They appeal to the young kids with the Lego theme, and then for their parents and grandparents, they can visit Cypress Gardens and have a little nostalgia as well.
Great. Now I know you're young. You're a young guy.
Sure.
You're probably
Thank
22.
you. My
23.
hair doesn't show it, but I'm actually 30, soon to be 31.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You don't look 30. But how do you think that Sun and Fun has affected what you guys try to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a statewide basis with the title sponsors of Sun and Fun this year, Visit Florida and FRLA, they have a hand in aviation as well, and Sun and Fun in particular. I mean, it's the largest convention in the state.
Right.
It's the 2nd largest fly-in in the entire country, so it makes sense for tourism agencies like ourselves, Visit Florida and FRLA, to be a part of what they have going on here. You know, and I mentioned earlier that being close to Orlando and Tampa helps us in a way because everybody is drawn to the Mouse's House over in Orlando. But when we're able to offer something unique as Sun and Fun in the aviation aspect, the museum that we have the pleasure of being in today, it makes our job a little easier because we could say, come stay and play with us.
Right.
You still are close enough to the Mouse's House, but we've got something unique to offer as well that you can't find anywhere else, and Sun and Fun is a prime example of that.
Now, when you, I imagine you guys have to put together some kind of a strategy together, and how are we going to work this out? How are we going to reach the potential Floridians, you know,
Sure.
to come here and become Floridians? So how does that work? How does that part work?
On an overall basis, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
we have I have a hand in it somewhat. I don't oversee it, but we have an entire marketing department that maps out a digital and print and social media strategy. And we have certain target markets throughout the area, or throughout the entire country, I'm sorry, and internationally for that matter.
Yeah.
Sun and Fun, for example, bringing in over 100,000 plus visitors or more.
Yeah.
For the week, many of which are on an international basis or international origin. It makes sense for us to market outside of the country as well. But case in point, to give you an idea of one of our target markets and where we really try to hit, New York is the biggest driver for tourism to this area of the state. But with the Detroit Tigers here in Lakeland as well for their spring training home, it's a natural fit to market in Michigan as well and let people know what they can see and do when they make the trip south to come watch their Tigers play for the month of March. They can stay a few days extra and come see Sun and Fun.
Yep.
Spring training actually just wrapped up last week, so if they stuck around a little bit, they got a chance to see this great expo as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back, probably you were not even born because I'm talking 1983, 1984. That's when I first started coming to the air shows here in Sun and Fun. And then, you know, I remember taking County Line Road, and it was bare.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, and I just noticed another big developing going on right on Drainfield and County Line, right by the strawberry farm there.
Sure.
It's a huge thing. And Amazon.
Big one.
That building over
Big
there.
one, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that you guys had a lot to do with getting those people in here.
Yeah, we weren't directly involved in those talks. We have an entire economic development team that goes out and recruits the major corporations like Amazon, Walmart, and FedEx, and there's a whole host of distribution centers throughout the entire county that those guys go out and work pretty hard on a daily basis to attract. But, you know, we work sort of hand in glove because without what we do on the tourism side and developing on that supply side, like I mentioned, with the hotels, with the attractions like Legoland,
Right.
It doesn't behoove those big corporations to bring their business here because there's not too much for anybody to do.
Exactly.
Because obviously when you bring those sort of businesses here, they have to attract a workforce. That workforce wants to go to a place where there's good school districts and there's good restaurants and there's a lot of things to do for them and their families.
Exactly.
So it works, like I said, hand in glove, and those economic development guys do a heck of a job. But I think without the efforts of our team, we may not be as successful as we are, but it's a mutual beneficial relationship for sure.
And I think just the strategic location of Lakeland.
Sure.
You know, I mean, especially in a state so long. I remember the first time I drove from New Jersey to Miami. When we left Georgia and we hit the Florida border, and we're thinking we're in Miami already.
Yeah.
And it took another day to get there. This is back in 1962.
Sure.
There was no 95 or nothing like that. You know, there was only 301 and Route 17.
Wow.
And it took us almost another day
I believe it.
to do the state.
I believe
Because
it.
that's like 300 and some miles, you know. It's just
Very much
it's
so.
a lot of miles. Now, you mentioned you were from the Northeast.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Originally from New Hampshire, right outside of
Oh,
Manchester.
way up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's really cold right now, so I'm happy to be in Florida in the sunshine.
But it's pretty territory in the fall.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you,
Absolutely. I get back
especially-
when I can.
From a pilot standpoint, I used to love to fly over that area, Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine and all that, and
Sure.
it's like flying over a quilt.
I believe it. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's the colors and
Beautiful.
it's just an unbelievable. Now, we lived. Well, I'm originally from Cuba, and you know, we
Okay.
came to this country. I came to this great country about 57 years ago, and we went directly to Jersey. We were there in Jersey. Then we decided to come on here. But to us, the change was not so bad because, you know, I'm a tropical boy.
Absolutely.
But how about you guys? When you came down from over there, how did you, the first impressions of living
Yeah.
down here?
It's definitely a little tough. The air's a lot thicker
Yeah.
down here than it is in the Northeast, that's for sure. But like you mentioned, that kind of that quilt work, but that lends itself to the seasons, changing of the seasons in the Northeast
Right.
that I really miss. Being able to see the leaves change color.
Yeah.
You know, I don't miss the snow as much.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You slide
don't
on
miss
ice.
You
No.
don't miss the shoveling.
No, you slide on ice once, and that's pretty much it for
Yeah.
for me. I'd much rather be down here in 85, 90 degree weather and sweat dripping off you than having to deal with that white stuff up there in the north. So
And you know, these people down here, they don't appreciate what they have to the degree.
I know.
Because imagine this, you get up in the morning and first of all, you got to shovel your car out of the snow.
You got to unbury it. Yeah.
Right? You got to dress like you're going to the Arctic. And then you come back and all the work you did, somebody took advantage of you and they parked the car there with you.
Of course. Of course, it's no fun.
And over here, you don't have to worry about it. There's a parking space everywhere you go. You pull in.
Yeah.
Over there, I forgot already how a parallel park.
Yeah, you don't see that too often down here, but that weather up north, it makes it pretty easy for us to do our job a little bit because all we have to ask visitors is if they're tired of the snow, come down here and see us because you definitely don't have to deal with it.
That's right. And I don't think it takes too much trouble to convince them.
There's
to
not too
make
much
that
arm
leap.
twisting for sure. No, not so much. You show them one nice picture of the beach with a palm tree in the sunshine and the opportunity for a nice cold drink in their hand, and what better place to be than Florida?
That's right. That looks prettier than a carrot for a horse.
You know it.
You know what I mean?
You know it for sure.
Well, Justin, you know, I really appreciate you coming to the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a great time. When you see your boss, Mark, tell him that I say hello, that I miss him this year.
I let him know you survived the interview 2 years ago, and I'm happy to see you did.
And let him know that you guys are making a terrific job, and
Thank you.
this is proof of it. You know, we see the growth in Central Florida. I do, and I think it's a great thing.
Thank you. I mean, without the help of organizations like Visit Florida and FRLA, we couldn't do what we do, but we love doing what we do nevertheless, and getting visitors to come stay the night and visit and see what there is to do in Polk County. But for anybody that wants to come talk to me or my team, we're on site the entire week at the Visitor Information Center for the grounds.
Perfect.
We'd be happy to come do what we do on a daily basis and let them know what there is to see and do all throughout Polk County and Central Florida.
And to our audience, both on TV land and cyberspace, you need to come down and take a look at what Lakeland looks like and what the sun here feels like. My name is Diego Alfonso, and I'm signing off for the Florida Aviation Network.